You know, in my many years traveling this world, I've learned that life is much like brewing the perfect cup of jasmine tea. It requires patience, attention, and understanding that each stage of the process has its purpose. Many young people rush through life, always seeking the next achievement, the next battle to win. But true power comes not from conquering mountains in a single bound, but from the steady climb, one step after another. I remember when my nephew believed strength was everything. He chased power like a man dying of thirst chases mirages in the desert. But strength without wisdom is like fire without control. It consumes everything, including yourself. Perhaps you too feel this burning inside you, this desire to prove your worth, to show the world who you truly are. This is natural, like the element that burns within us all. But fire can warm a home or burn it to the ground. The difference is in how we guide it. When I was a young man, I thought my destiny was written in conquest. I led armies, believing this was my path to greatness. It took losing someone precious to me to understand that true destiny isn't something thrust upon us by others. It's something we create with each choice we make. You see, destiny is a funny thing. Some people spend their entire lives searching for it, while others create it with every step they take. The question isn't what destiny has planned for you, but what you plan for yourself. There will be days when storm clouds gather around you, when it seems the whole world has turned its back. These are not punishments. These are opportunities disguised as hardships. The darkest storms bring the most nourishing rain. I have known many who crumbled under such pressure, but I have also watched those who stood firm, who understood that bamboo survives the fiercest winds not by resisting, but by bending without breaking. This flexibility is not weakness, it is profound strength. My nephew once thought his scar marked him as banished, dishonored. He couldn't see that his true mark was not on his face, but in his heart, a heart capable of tremendous growth and change. Your scars, whatever they may be, tell the story of your journey. They are not marks of shame, but badges of survival. When you feel lost, remember that even the longest journey begins with a single step, and sometimes the path forward is not about adding new things to your life, but about letting go of what weighs you down. Pride, anger, fear, these are heavier burdens than any physical load. I spent many years holding on to my grief, letting it define me. But grief, like joy, is a visitor. It comes to teach us, not to torture us eternally. Learning when to hold on and when to release is perhaps life's greatest lesson. You must understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. Each time you fall, you learn something valuable about the path ahead. The fire that burns your hand also teaches you about its nature. I have watched many talented benders who could move mountains but couldn't move their own stubborn hearts. True mastery begins not with controlling the elements around you, but with controlling the elements within you, your fears, your doubts, your rage. Sometimes the greatest battles we face are fought not against enemies, but against the darkness within ourselves. These battles aren't won with lightning or flame, but with understanding, forgiveness, and love. Love may seem a strange thing to mention when speaking of power, but it is the most powerful force in all the nations. Not the fleeting kind that burns hot and fast, but the enduring kind that warms without consuming. The love that gives without expecting return. The love that sees others not as they are, but as they could become. My nephew once believed love was weakness, that it would make him soft when he needed to be hard. He didn't understand that true strength comes not from hardening your heart, but from having the courage to keep it open, even after it's been broken. In your darkest moments, when hope seems as distant as the stars, remember that the night is always darkest before the dawn, and dawn always comes, even to those who have forgotten what sunlight feels like. I have known warriors who could split mountains, but crumbled under the weight of their own expectations. And I have known humble tea makers who faced life's greatest challenges with unwavering spirits. True power is not measured by what you can destroy, but by what you can endure. When obstacles block your path, consider whether they are walls or merely doors. Sometimes what appears to be the end of your journey is merely a turning point on a longer road. You may feel sometimes that you walk your path alone, but look closely at the footprints beside you. We are never truly alone in this world. Even those who have left us physically leave their wisdom to guide us. I have learned that anger is a natural part of life, like all emotions, but it is a poor master. When you feel rage building within you, treat it like a cup of tea that's too hot to drink. Acknowledge it, respect its heat, but wait until it cools before you consume it. The pursuit of perfection is an admirable goal, but remember that perfection is not a destination, it is a continuous journey. The master who believes he has nothing left to learn has already begun to fail. When I look at young people like you, I see such potential, like seeds waiting for the right season to bloom. But remember that growth happens both above and below the surface. While others see only your visible achievements, your roots, your character, your principles are what truly sustain you through life's storms. Many seek happiness as if it were a rare treasure hidden in distant lands. But happiness is more like the air we breathe. It surrounds us, always available if only we open ourselves to it. A simple cup of tea, shared with a friend, can contain more joy than all the riches in Ba Sing Se. I have known those who believed their circumstances defined them, that being born to privilege or poverty, with bending or without, determined their worth. But we are not defined by the hand we are dealt, but by how we play our cards. Your life is like an unwritten scroll. Each day, you add to the story. Some chapters may be filled with struggle, others with triumph. But remember that you hold the brush. You decide what marks you leave on the page. Sometimes we must look back to understand where we are going, but don't stare so long at your past that you miss the path ahead. Your history is a teacher, not a jailer. When my nephew was consumed by anger, he couldn't see that his quest to capture the enemy was really a quest to capture himself, to understand who he truly was beneath the armor and the title. Perhaps your greatest quest is not what you think it is. Life will test you. It will bring you to your knees when you least expect it. In these moments, remember that kneeling is not just a position of defeat. It can also be a position of rest, of humility, of preparation for rising again, like a tea leaf that must be submerged in hot water to reveal its flavor. Our true character emerges not in times of comfort, but in times of difficulty. These trials do not define you, they reveal you. The path to greatness is rarely straight or smooth. It winds and twists like a mountain stream finding its way to the ocean. Sometimes you must flow around obstacles. Other times, with patience, you wear them away. I have watched many chase after glory, only to find it hollow once attained. True fulfillment comes not from being recognized by others, but from recognizing yourself, your true self, with all its complexities and contradictions. When the whole world seems against you, when your inner fire dims to embers, remember that even the smallest spark can reignite the greatest flame. Your spirit, once kindled, cannot be easily extinguished. There will be crossroads in your journey where the right path is not clear. In these moments, be still. Listen not just with your ears, but with your heart. The answers we seek are often whispered, not shouted. Balance is not something you find once and possess forever. It is something you maintain, moment by moment, choice by choice. Like walking on a narrow bridge, it requires constant awareness and adjustment. Some days, progress will seem impossible, the mountain too steep, the burden too heavy. On these days, remember that rest is not surrender. Even the strongest flame must sometimes be banked to burn longer. I have known those who measured their worth by victories in battle, only to find themselves lost in times of peace. True worth comes not from what you can take from this world, but from what you give to it. Remember that even the most skilled firebender cannot control lightning until they have peace within themselves. Your greatest achievements will come not when you conquer your outside enemies, but when you make peace with your inner ones. Even the dragon, mighty as it is, once began as an egg, protected and nurtured by others. When pride tells you to stand your ground at all costs, wisdom might whisper that sometimes the strongest move is to step aside. Not all battles need to be fought. Not all points need to be proven. Life has taught me that forgiveness is not something we offer others because they deserve it, but because we deserve peace. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. I look at you and see not just who you are, but who you could become. The journey between these 2 points may be the greatest adventure of your life. Remember that the finest tea comes from leaves that have withstood the harshest weather. Your struggles do not diminish you, they season you, bringing out flavors and strengths you never knew you possessed. So walk your path with courage, with compassion, and with hope. Meet each sunrise as a gift and each sunset as a teacher. Find wisdom in both victory and defeat. And never forget that within you burns a flame that can warm the world if you tend it with care. And always remember, no matter how things seem to change, never forget who you are. Before you continue on your journey, young traveler, allow me to share one final wisdom. The greatest masters know that wisdom is meant to be shared, not hoarded like gold. Just as I have shared these humble thoughts with you today, perhaps you might consider joining our community of seekers and dreamers. You see, the path of growth is not meant to be walked alone. By subscribing to this channel, you're not simply pressing a button, you're joining a fellowship of like-minded spirits, all striving to become the heroes of their own stories. I may be just an old man who loves his tea, but I know this truth. Transformation happens when we return to the source of wisdom again and again. Besides, what would my nephew say if he knew you passed up such an opportunity for growth? Even he, stubborn as he was, eventually recognized the value of guidance. The choice, as always, remains yours. But know that we will be here, teapot warm and wisdom ready, whenever you decide to return. Subscribe now. Your journey toward becoming who you're truly meant to be continues with the next video.